Air Base Alpnach, 20th of February 2017. Over a period of 5 days, international flight tests will be carried out from here with various systems on flying with bad or zero visibility, for short DVE, Degraded Visual Environment. The Alpnach, situated at an altitude of 1,650 meters, will serve as the area for testing these systems with walled-up snow.
Switzerland is involved in an international working group on this subject as part of the Partnership for Peace programme. In this way, we can on the one hand benefit from the huge expertise of the participating countries, and on the other, we're able to bring in our own extensive expertise in helicopter aviation, and thus actively help to form this technology.
At this time of year, the Alpnach can only be reached by helicopter. So the Swiss Air Force airlifts the measuring instruments and personnel required for the tests to this location. At the same time at the Alpnach Air Base, specialists from the Air Force, Arma Suisse and industry convene to prepare themselves for the coming test flights.
Here, helicopter crews have the opportunity to carry out flights under non-visual conditions. In other words, when they're unable to see enough with the naked eye due to snow, fog or other visual limitations.
There are 3 people in the Swiss test crew. The safety pilot. In an emergency, he will be able to take over the controls. The flight test engineer. He constantly watches over and checks the system. And the actual test pilot, who flies during the test. They all have a background in the Air Force or come from the Arma Swiss Defence Procurement Agency. An EC-635 helicopter with an integrated Spherian test system for flying with bad or zero visibility serves as a test platform. At the same time as the EC-635 starts in Alpnach, technicians and scientists switch on their devices on the Alpnach.
They're pretty good, yeah. I can't see the targets at all.
Apart from Switzerland, the United States and Great Britain are also involved in these one-week tests in the snow. The closer the helicopter comes to the ground when landing, the more the downwash of its rotors whirl up the snow, obscuring the pilot's view. Now the Spherian system being tested comes into play. Its sensors detect both terrain and obstacles and display these to the pilot in his helmet visor so that he's able to land safely.
The pilot sees 2 projections of a virtual landscape. One directly in his helmet display, where it's combined with his own external view. Then on the panel-mounted display. This is a monitor which is attached to the instrument panel, where the same information is duplicated, but allows less freedom of movement.
Again and again, the Swiss helicopter approaches the Alpnach to land. Thanks to the support of the Spherian system, it's almost like flying in a virtual reality.
Actually, it's more an augmented reality, an improved reality, as we believe it's important that the pilot always has a free external view. In other words, he still sees the environment, but his perception is technically augmented by various kinds of supportive information that assist him when visibility is bad.
Cues, Außenhinweise, die ihn bei schlechter Sicht eben helfen.
While the Swiss pilots make their final landing approach for the day, the American test crew prepare for their mission at the Alpnach Air Base. Their test platform is an American Blackhawk helicopter. It is also equipped with the latest technology. Precisely this closeness between the teams during the tests provides an opportunity not only to share information on the pros and cons of the different systems, but also to benefit from experience gathered during real operations. The crews from America are particularly experienced in what is known as the brownout phenomenon. Brownout is the name given to the whirling up of dust that occurs when approaching land on a dusty or sandy surface, obscuring the pilot's view, as in a whiteout.
The traditional brownout techniques that we use, or whiteout techniques that we use, are almost like a controlled crash. They're very aggressive, you hit the ground very hard, and you have very little precision as to where you land. When we use this system that we've developed here with the symbology, the cueing, and especially when offloading some work to the flight control, workload goes way down, but more importantly it becomes a very controllable, repeatable maneuver that is a lot easier on the aircraft and a lot less nerve-wracking for the pilot.
40 feet.
So the displayed information from the system enables the pilot to land in the desert safely and without stress, even without external visibility. On the Elgi Alp, the American crews are testing whether the advantages of their system also permit a controlled touch and go during a whiteout. The whiteout tests in particular, and flying with bad or zero visibility, are generally met with great interest. Consequently, more than 200 people from 13 countries attend the Information Day in Alpnach.
This is a forward-looking technology we wish to promote as innovation. For us, the Air Force, as the only national helicopter operator that supports police, border guard and rescue forces, it's extremely important that we are at the cutting edge of developments. That's the only way we can contribute to the security of Switzerland. And this is not only when the sun is shining, but when the weather is bad too.
For representatives from the military, industry and especially civilian helicopter operators, the issue of accomplishing missions safely under all weather conditions is of great importance.
It is of great importance because we often face adverse weather conditions during our daily operations. We want to get to our patients as quickly as possible, but because of the weather we're unable to fly many missions today.
The Whiteout Test Week in Switzerland is part of a whole series of tests. The US Army has already conducted brownout tests in the Yuma Desert in Arizona. And during the weeks prior to Alpnach, Switzerland participated in a test series on flying in fog and bad visibility at the Air Force Base in Manching near Munich.
We've been able to gain much expertise on a new technology. Only a year ago it was mentioned that we might begin to work with DVE and thus build such expertise. We're now fully in the expertise development phase, but until the system is available for us to become operational, it will take some time.
I think one of the great things that came out of the Manching and Alpnach tests were the fact that the pilots had a chance to sit down and talk to each other. They had a chance to fly each other's aircraft.
Having that cooperation and crosstalk has allowed us to really understand what the advantages and disadvantages of their system is, and they're able to see what ours is as well. So they have completely different ways of approaching the system, or approaching the problem with their own systems. And I think that we've gotten a good awareness of what their strengths are, what our weaknesses are, and hopefully be able to optimize as we develop a better system, a better overall solution.
These whiteout tests in Switzerland now conclude the test series on flying with bad or zero visibility. The data gained will now be evaluated, and findings will be used to develop the systems further, so that in the future it will be possible for helicopter pilots to accomplish their mission regardless of visual conditions more safely and 365 days a year.